Build a defense around your home so complete that roaches, ants, mice, and spiders give up and go looking for an easier house, and keep it that way through every season of the year, without a single bug bomb, without a can of store spray, and without a $400 exterminator on speed dial. So why does almost every homeowner still lose this fight? It is not because they are not trying, it is because they are defending one layer while the people who actually keep pests out are defending 5. No spray is magic. Nothing keeps every single bug off the face of the earth. But stack these 5 layers together the right way, and your house simply stops being worth the trip. Here is the thing. I learned this in places where one barrier was never enough, where you never relied on a single product or a single fix because a single anything always failed. You built in layers because layers are what hold. Most homeowners have never seen the whole system laid out in one place. Once you do, you will never defend your home the same way again. Let's go. So how does a clean, well-kept home end up overrun in the first place? It happens quietly, long before anyone sees a single bug, a crack in the foundation no wider than a coin, a weep hole in the brick, the thin line of daylight under the back door. To a German cockroach, an ant scout, or a young mouse, every one of those is an open gate. They do not announce themselves. They move at night along the baseboards and behind the refrigerator motor while the family sleeps. And here is the part that should stop you cold. The National Pest Management Association found that 88% of Americans dealt with a bug or a rodent inside their home in a single year. Nearly everyone. That is how common this quiet invasion really is, and in just a minute, I am going to show you why the products most people reach for do not just fail, they actually make the problem worse. Start with the bug bomb, the fogger. It feels powerful. You set it off, the room fills with mist, and you walk back in expecting a graveyard. Researchers at North Carolina State University tested 4 of them in homes crawling with cockroaches. 2 weeks later, and again a month later, the roach numbers had not dropped at all. Not. The reason is simple. That mist settles on your counters, your floor, your child's high chair, out in the open, where the roaches are not. The roaches are deep inside the wall voids and the cabinet hinges, and the fog never reaches them. So you have coated the surfaces your family touches, and left the colony untouched. Store spray is no better. Most of it is a repellent. A roach or an ant can sense it and simply walk around it. Worse, with ants, hitting the trail with a repellent can split one colony into several, each with its own egg-laying queen. You did not kill the problem, multiplied it. And even a good treatment that goes down once breaks apart fast. The CDC's own chemical data shows that sunlight and rain can break some of these products down in a matter of days. When I was deployed in the desert, we learned this the hard way. One barrier was never enough. The heat tore through chemicals, rodents worked the supply tents. Scorpions turned up in boots and gear. You did not solve that with one spray. You layered the whole camp, including the ground around it, the structures, and the food storage, or you fell behind every single night. And listen, this is not just about being grossed out. The New England Journal of Medicine tied cockroach allergen in the home directly to severe asthma in children. Kids landing in the hospital because of what was living inside their walls. Rodents carry their own load of disease wherever they nest. These are not nuisances, they are threats to the people under your roof. So here is the irony. The same house that feels so secure with locked doors and solid windows is wide open to anything small enough to slip through a coin-sized gap. Closing it takes 5 layers, and they begin at the very edge of your property. The first layer is the ground itself. Pests do not pick your home at random. They follow food, water, and shelter, and most yards hand them all 3 right up against the wall. Mulch piled to the siding, firewood stacked on the house, shrubs pressed into the brick, a clogged gutter holding water. Every one of those is an open invitation, a place where insects breed and rodents shelter one step from the foundation. A clear band of dry, open ground around the base of the home takes all of that away. A pest out in the open, with nowhere to hide and nothing to eat, is a pest already looking somewhere else. This is the layer almost everyone skips, and it is the one that makes every layer after it work harder. But bare ground alone will not hold for long. The season is always moving, and the next wave is always forming. That is where the second layer comes in. The second layer is the barrier, a treated band around the foundation that pests have to cross to reach the house. Done right, this is the chemical moat. Tallstar P, made by FMC, is one of the standards. Its active ingredient is bifenthrin at 7.9%. It bonds to the surfaces around the foundation line, the door thresholds, the weep holes, and it keeps killing for up to about 3 months. An insect crosses it and picks up a lethal dose on contact. There is an even tougher option for the outside. Suspend Polyzone from Envu carries deltamethrin at 4.75% wrapped in a polymer shell. That shell is the whole point. It guards the chemistry against the sun, the rain, and the sprinklers that wash ordinary treatments away, holding the line for up to 90 days out in the weather. One treated band, refreshed with the seasons, and the perimeter does the fighting for you. But here is what almost nobody bothers with, and it is the layer that decides whether everything else lasts a week or lasts all year. The third layer is the seal, exclusion, and those gaps are smaller than you think. A mouse can pass through a hole the size of a dime, about 1/4 of an inch. A rat needs only the size of a quarter, about 1/2 an inch. That comes straight from the CDC. If a mouse's skull fits, the rest of it follows. Weep holes, pipe and cable penetrations, the gap under the garage door, the openings around vents. Those are the real front doors. The fix is mechanical. Copper mesh, driven into those holes, locked in place with sealant and 1/4-inch hardware cloth across the vents. That is what turns an open building into a closed one. This is exactly what mattered most overseas. Keeping rodents out of the food and supply storage was never really about traps. Traps catch what already got in. The real work was closing the building, every gap, every penetration, so they could not get in to begin with. And here is the piece people get wrong at home. Treating without sealing, or sealing without treating, leaves the gate open either way. The barrier and the seal are partners. Run one without the other, and you have done half a job. Up to now, every layer has been about the outside, keeping pests from ever reaching the walls. But what about the ones already inside? That is the fourth layer, and it is where the real elimination happens. The fourth layer works on the inside, and it does the exact opposite of a repellent. It uses products pests cannot detect, so they walk right into them and carry them home. Advian cockroach gel from Syngenta is built on indoxacarb at 0.6%. A roach feeds on it, returns to the harborage, and dies, and the others feed on that one, passing the dose to as many as 40 more. It moves through a colony like a chain reaction. For the hidden spaces, wall voids, weep holes, the dark gaps behind plumbing, there is delta dust from Envu with deltamethrin at 0.05%. It is waterproof, which is why it keeps working in damp voids for up to 8 months when it sits undisturbed. Then there is Simexa from Rockwell Labs, a fine silica dust that kills a completely different way. It is not a nerve poison. It dries the insect out from the outside in, scratching through its shell, and because there is no chemistry to adapt to, pests cannot build resistance to it. And for living spaces, there is Alpine WSG from BASF, a non-repellent that earned a reduced risk rating from the EPA, which is why it is trusted around kitchens and food areas while it spreads quietly through a colony. None of these announce themselves. The pest never knows it walked into a defense. Now here is the part that surprises people the most. What a home actually feels like once all of this is working together. Because the fifth layer is the one that keeps it that way. The watch. Simple monitors and glue boards set along the baseboards and behind the appliances are an early warning line. They tell you what is moving and where, long before it ever becomes an infestation. A real defense is not a one-time event. It is a barrier refreshed with the seasons, openings checked, monitors read, and every one of these products carries a label with directions and limits that are not suggestions. The label is the law. That discipline, doing it right every time, is exactly what separates a home that stays clear from one that backslides, and once that watch is set, you finally get the thing every homeowner is really after. Let me show you what that looks like. Put all 5 layers together and something quiet happens. The night traffic along the baseboard stops. The trail of ants across the counter never forms. The droppings in the cabinet, The shed skins behind the stove, the scratching in the wall at 2 in the morning, gone. Nothing can reach the food, the water, or the shelter anymore. I am telling you, your home simply drops off the menu. Now, I will be straight with you. This is not a sealed vault, and no honest method ever is. A door opens, a package comes in, something flies through a window. But a home defended in 5 layers is the hardest target on the block, and pests, like anything else, always go looking for the easy one. So now you know the 5 layers. The terrain at the edge of your property, the barrier on the foundation, the seal over every entry point, the non-repellent products that hunt a colony from the inside out, and the watch that holds the whole thing together. You know why each one matters, and why not one of them ever works alone. If you have been fighting a pest that just keeps coming back, drop your story in the comments. Tell me what you are up against. I read every single one of them. Thank you for watching. God bless.